Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
What's up, everybody? It's the King Twiz coming at you, and today I just wanted to share a video with you, just remembering. Obviously, you know what I'm talking about, considering the title of the video, but I do have to apologize for not putting a video out on the actual date. It seems like it'd be more logical to put a remembrance, memorial type of video on the date specifically, right? But anyways, I just wanted to make a video for remembering the sacrifices, the obviously historical event, and then also the pain that people felt, and also even the bravery that people felt. Because yes, Pearl Harbor was a devastating thing. Yes, it's a remembrance of the sacrifices, the pain, and the bravery, but it also had a line of other things afterwards that came into effect. For the good, the bad, for the better or worse. I mean, I don't know exactly if the attack on Pearl Harbor happening would have led us to the victory, but I mean, that is what got us into everything. That is what kind of jump started our participation in World War II. So I mean, I don't know, maybe later on, like if things just were just still getting worse. I mean, you got to remember by that time Hitler already conquered like most of Europe right there, and was all the way to the shores of like France, looking across the waters at England, or the British Empire at the time. So I mean, who knows? I mean, Hitler could have just progressed on, but then again, like, I don't know. It's all just weird. You know what I mean? Like, if Pearl Harbor didn't happen, would we have gotten into the war later on, or would there have been some other like significant thing that would have caused us to get in there? I mean, our allies and people just crumbling around in Europe, I mean, it seemed like that would have been enough for us to kind of get in there and help out and do something. I mean, we were helping out. Obviously, we were sending supplies and military equipment to like the British Empire, and I'd assume other countries. But I don't know. I guess the way I kind of look at it is that since Pearl Harbor happened, it was more or less our, not our ticket, but it was like our entrance. Like that was just like, okay, it's the last straw. Like we need to step in officially and just put like the hammer down. I guess that's the way I look at it. Now, I was watching a few like compilations of videos for Pearl Harbor. Just kind of just a bunch of different things. Like, I don't know, just events that happened. Certain people that held like a position during that time that did like just monumentous things during that period of time. And just even weird like discoveries, and of course the conspiracy theories, which is weird. I'm gonna kind of go off topic here, but it's weird because whenever something happens, like a historical event or just anything that pops up, like 9/11, when on my TV in this news section, it like compiles a bunch of videos from just all over, just so you can check it out. And so whenever certain days pop up, it'll have a topic of just like all all videos relating to that topic. So of course, Pearl Harbor pops up, and the point that I'm getting to is that whenever something pops up like 9/11 or Pearl Harbor, I mean, it pops up all these different videos that are within the topic, but then it also pops up conspiracy theories. And so I want to talk about a little bit of just like the things that I've seen in that little compilation of videos for remembering Pearl Harbor. And one that stood out to me was the internment camps that were going on in Wyoming by Hart Mountain. And of course, I mean, you know about that. I mean, I learned about that when I was younger. And I mean, I was shocked, and I just can't believe that during that time, we're at war. I mean, I wonder if there was camps for like Germans and I mean Italian people, because we were fighting obviously Hitler and the Nazis, and we were fighting um God, I forgot his name, but the dictator at the time of Italy. God, I wish I could. It's right at the tip of my tongue. I know his name. Mussolini, I believe. Yeah, Mussolini. And so I mean, I wonder if there was even camps that had those people with that background, that race, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, the internment camps for people with Japanese descent. And it's just so messed up to think about, because it's like these are people that were American citizens. I mean, I'd imagine there were some people that weren't American citizens, but there was people that they rounded up that were American citizens, and they, put them in these camps. And it's so weird because obviously the Holocaust stands out to everybody. And they talk about like Auschwitz and just those different concentration camps and all the horrible things that happened there. But at the same time, I don't know if it's exactly at the same time, or if it was just after Pearl Harbor, probably after Pearl Harbor, but I'm not sure. But we had like camps in our country while Germany, or I should say Hitler, the Nazis, had their camps. It was just so weird that like that correlation right there. It's like we both had camps with people just imprisoned in it. And it's weird because people that, like I said, were American citizens would literally have their assets taken away. There was people that, had degrees, that were leading good lives. People that own their own businesses, own their own homes, their vehicles, or whatever the case may be, had a freaking an account, a checking account. I don't know. But people like that, and they just totally got everything taken away from them, and they got imprisoned. And I'd imagine they got treated horribly, because at the time, this was the face of our enemy. And so just to look at somebody that has, like an Asian face, the features of an Asian person, and they're just automatically targeted. And I don't know, like that just makes me, I don't know if awe is a good description for it. Not saying in awe like aw, but in awe like shocked, just mouth dropped. So that was one thing that was like in that little compilation of videos, was that. And that was just, I mean, I knew about it already, but it's just looking back on it and just thinking like, how? I mean, nowadays that wouldn't fly. I'm sure Trump would want to do that with any Muslim person, anybody that practice their Islamic belief. I'm sure he would want to round everybody up and put them in camps or whatever, but yeah, obviously nowadays that type of stuff is just not going to fly. Another thing I wanted to talk about was a video of a commander. I believe that's what you would call that, a commander. I'm not sure of my military rankings. I'm speaking of the Navy, so I'm not sure of my military rankings in the Navy. But I forgot his name, but this guy, I'm just going to say he was a commander. And the importance of that is because it happened on what, December 7th in 41, 2 days earlier. So would that be the 5th? On December 5th of 1941, this person was stationed down in Pearl Harbor. And I just want to say this, like specific people that I guess like this guy that I'm talking about. I don't know if there's other people I'm going to bring up, but I don't know the names, but just because I talk about any specific person that was stationed in Pearl Harbor or anybody that had an effect or a cause and effect or anything after Pearl Harbor or during Pearl Harbor's attack. Everybody that was a part of that is important, obviously. So just because I'm talking about specific anybody's does, don't forget that there was so many people that were affected, involved. I believe it was like what, 20 over 24,000 casualties in Pearl Harbor. I'm not exactly sure about that. That was just a number I think that I heard earlier. I didn't look it up or anything, but obviously everybody is important. Everybody that was a part of that, you know what I mean, is significant, definitely. But this person I was talking about, uh, just became commander of his own ship on December 5th. And December 6th, it said that he just had his first like patrol on his new ship, and then December 7th, just took command of his ship 2 days prior, and already, boom, December 7th, he's dealing with all of that. Oh my God. So that was pretty interesting. That this is like a true test of your like your experience. Like, are you qualified for this job? I guess, and it sucks because I don't know if his ship survived or if that was one of the many that went down, or even if that man also went down. Like I didn't say anything about that. Another thing that was kind of crazy and weird that stood out to me was just like one of Japan's midget submarines. It's just like I just had a little video of it because it was sunk. It popped up like outside of Pearl Harbor, like some ways out in the ocean. And somebody on their ship, they picked it up and like, oh crap, saw it. And it said that the person did exactly what they should have did, is they sunk it. Well, I guess they identified it, they sunk it, and then they radioed it in. And so they took a camera down. Nowadays, they took a camera down and like showed it, and just like, that was like over 70 years ago when this would have went down. And so just like that time, the effect it had on the submarine, like it was just an eerie thing to look at down there. I don't know. That was pretty weird. There were obviously many videos and that were on that little compilation that I'm talking about. So, I mean, I'm not going to go into every single one of them and just start, hey, man, you blah, blah, blah. But there was one video that was pretty crazy, and it's dealing with like a Japanese spy. Well, I don't even know if he was Japanese because the picture that they showed of him, he looked like a regular, just like an American white person, I guess. But apparently he grew up like in Japan, so he had that understanding of their culture and ways. And apparently he was a spy for them, and he was in Pearl Harbor, and obviously he just blended in. No one picked up anything, and he was just, like sending like strategies and just basically getting Japan ready for that attack. And he was just telling them like, yeah, there's many promising things that we could do here. And like that was just crazy when I was watching about that. But the last thing that I wanted to talk about, well, not the last thing, because I want to talk about just remembering and, was just kind of like touching base on the whole conspiracy thing. Now, one of the conspiracies that was in that compilation of videos was obviously, this is FDR's way of kind of nudging us into battle. Like I was saying in the beginning, and like many people, you guys know, was that nobody wanted to go to war. No American person wanted America to set foot on foreign lands fighting that war. I think it was like over 80% of the population did not want that. And so FDR publicly said, no, like none of our people want that. I'm not going to have that. But there's rumors in the background that President Roosevelt was kind of setting up the Japanese empire to kind of make that move to push us through that door. Kind of like the same conspiracy. Well, there's many conspiracy theories out there, but almost like the same conspiracy for 9/11. Like some people think that Bush and Cheney and whoever else set it up to have that attack happen, blame it on blah blah blah, so then they could push forward with their agenda. But so that's a working conspiracy out there for President Roosevelt, that he wanted to kind of nudge the Japanese to attack us, to give us that, to like provoke us to enter the war. So while he's publicly saying we don't want to go to war, blah blah blah, I think earlier that year there was a things happening. I don't know specifically. I don't even think it said in the video. It just like kind of just, you know, generally said that in the video, that there was just kind of tasks, objectives that they did earlier that year that was kind of like forcing, you know, pushing the Japanese Empire to want to make that move on us. And as soon as they would make that move on us, then that would totally just provoke us, and then we would enter the war, and then obviously we know the outcome of that. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't want to say like I would believe that conspiracy theory, because obviously there's a lot of people that got hurt and a lot of people that got killed because of, if that was the case, like that would be horrible to think of it in that way. So I just want to wrap this video up. Just remember, just, I guess, the fight, the sacrifice that people made at that time. And of course, they didn't have a choice, you know, all this just happened. There was one guy in a video that was a part of the Navy down there, just I don't even know what he was, if he was not a private, if he was like a seaman or whatever he was, a petty officer, I don't know. But he said that he was just reading the morning paper, like on his bunk or something like that. Then all of a sudden he heard machine gun fire, and he heard like the announcement of something like, everybody man your battle stations, this is not a drill or whatever. So I mean, the people that sacrificed, the people that fought, the people that conquered, you know, like this is remembering them. They didn't have a choice. That was my point. They didn't have a choice. But every year when this date pops up, along with many others, we will always remember. We will always think back, look back, and just remember, like, you know, maybe it was an atrocious time and a horrible event, but people were still, you know, called into action. People still had to do what they needed to do to secure the future for us. I mean, obviously this doesn't even have to be just all about war, but just any event, you know, where people just had to sacrifice, or victories even. Like, we need to remember that. We need to appreciate that. Because without them, you know, how would it be today? How would it be today? So like I said in the beginning of the video, and I hope I said this in the beginning of the video, but I apologize for obviously not putting this out on the day of remembering. But I mean, the day after, I mean, it's still very important. So I mean, regardless, even if it was 3 days from the date, like it's still just very, very important. So I'm going to end the video right here. I appreciate you guys checking out this video if you did. And all I can say is just show just a piece of appreciation towards that date, towards those lives, those souls. Break off appreciation. It's for everybody involved. Obviously, pretty much everybody is involved, even us today. I mean, we're all affected by this. Every country that was a part of that, you know, we've all been affected, definitely. So like I said, I'm going to end the video right here. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll see you. Peace.